Good evening, everyone, and welcome and thank you so much for tuning in to BWIN Winning Wednesday for Women. We are so delighted that you have joined us today, and we have a very special guest with us, and we will be introducing her shortly. So we thank you so much for taking time to join us today. I am your host, Mary Pitts, and also founder and CEO of BWIN. And so we're so delighted to have you. Business Women Inspirational Network is a membership community dedicated to focusing on cultivating the winner in you. We are a professional, a social, and spiritual platform committed to supporting your business, your personal and spiritual growth. There are three pillars that drive our mission, and that is inspiration, motivation, and sisterhood. And that will be your experience on tonight. So I like to say, for more information, make sure you visit our website at bwininc.com. And also during our segment tonight, if you have any questions, we would like to say, include the asterisk as well as the ax in your comment, okay, the hashtag rather, hashtag ax in your comment. And so right here, I am so delighted to invite our guest tonight, Liz Everett style. And so I've been knowing Liz for numerous of years, 6 or more years, I believe. And tonight our topic is we'll be discussing about how to build winning relationships and how relationships are so important in every aspect of our lives. And so we know that you're going to gain some gems tonight with this amazing woman of God. She is a woman of God, as well as she is just really the platform that God has given her. She is really making impact. And I am so delighted that she's with us tonight. And so I want you to join me in welcoming none other than the award-winning stylist, Liz Everett. Hey, Liz, how are you doing?
How are you?
I am well. I am so delighted to have you with us on tonight. I tell you, it has just been such a joy. And I tell you, the time that we have known each other and have grown, and God, just so awesome how you just bring people in your lives and everything like that. So we have so much that we want to go over tonight. So I want you to tell our audience a little bit about yourself. Who is Liz Everett?
In the business world, I am the CEO and founder of Everett Consulting International. I am an image strategist, so I work in like fashion, beauty, brand, the marketing, the feel, the look, the vibe, right? I always say that I have the honor of, reviving the woman within or the gentleman within. I help people bring their dreams to life, right? And I help people look like what they sell and look fabulous while they're living their dream. And that is just such an incredible part of my job as a person, though, just like as the woman. I'm the daughter of a cowboy and and a pastor, and my mom was a school teacher. And somehow I wound up in New York City and all over the place doing all these things. And, I just was a little kid that dreamed really big. And I'm just so honored at what God has done, because only He could do the things that He's done in my life.
That is so amazing. I want to say you look fabulous. You look stunning tonight.
Thank you so
You must
much.
be ready for the runway. I'm telling you,
Well,
you are glowing and you look vibrant. You are. Where is the photographer? So you look so, yes. And so you look fabulous, and we're so delighted to have you here. And I know that you say that you're image strategist and fashion stylist. What does that look like? I mean, to our audience, it's like, okay, how would you put that into words and make it plain for us? I would just say, just look at you. That's what. Hey, you're definitely represented tonight.
Well, thank you. I lead with the fashion stylist part because I always feel like that's the thing that people understand the quickest, right? Looking and feeling good. as an image strategist. So I'm a certified image consultant. I'm also a member of AICI, which is the international organization
Okay.
for image consultants all across the world. They're the highest certifying organization. And through them, you really realize that image is really about impression, right? Which leads you to brand, which leads you to visual brand, which leads you to like, do I believe you when you tell me what you do? You know? And so I have the immense honor, like immense, incredible. I'm so honored to do what I do, because I get to give people their confidence back. You know, they come to me,
That's
they tell
awesome.
me what they do or what they would like to do, the type of platform that they're building. And, you know, I just created a 12-week program that we do 4 different segments. So we spend the first 3 weeks digging into the brand. Then we curate and create the persona. Then we create the look, and then we end with social media and really the photo shoot. You know, I go into the closet, and it's crazy because I started out working on one thing, and then realized because of my other studies, I really knew how to get people ready for media, how to get them ready to be that media ready expert. And so God is really putting me in that place.
Awesome. Awesome. That is so fabulous. I tell you, I've had hand-on experience with you, seeing you, you know, doing your thing. And as we're talking about tonight about building winning relationships, and I just see how you just build those relationships with your clients and how you become friends. It's more than just a client. I don't even know how to put it into words. And not only what you're doing for them on the external factor, but also inwardly, because BWIN talks about winning starts within. And I see you do that every day, every time you're interacting with your client, and you just go within them, and you just tuned in, and that's what I just really love about you. So how would you define a winning relationships in reference to what you do?
Well, millions of years ago, you said to me, because I think we've known each other for almost 10 years.
It's 10 years. I was
It's
trying to
gotta be
count.
something like that, because it's about that, because I'm 38 now. So it's like 8 or 9 years right now.
Yeah.
So because I think that I started going to Life Focus at about 30. Is when I really started getting serious about what I needed to do in my life, what God wanted to do with me, you know. And you had said to me, well, you said in the BWIN meeting, but you always told me, and I've told you before, I don't think you realized how much I struggled with relationships, right?
Wow.
I always felt like if I'm going to count on anybody, it's going to be me, you know,
Yes.
and I didn't really value relationships the way that I do now.
Mhm.
And you always said, no matter what business you're in the business of people.
Yes, exactly.
And, you know, you continued to pull me aside. And then I would say probably about 5 years ago, when I started working in New York City more and those kind of things, you pulled me aside again and you said, hey, listen, I don't care what movie those people have been on. I don't care how much money they have. I don't care about any of that stuff. You remember one thing: you connect with people's spirit. You don't
Yes.
connect with, you don't look to the outside of the man, you look to the inside of the man. So, and I'm in a really sacred space with people all the time. You have to think like I'm in the dressing room handing this naked person clothes, you know, and I'm constantly pushing that person to get way outside of their comfort zone. When I see them, I don't see who they see themselves as. I see
Right.
them almost like a prophetic vision of who that person is. I just see this queen, like she's looking in the mirror like, oh, maybe I'm to this, maybe I'm to that, or he's in the mirror like, well, I think I might this, or I think I might that, and I'm like, absolutely not. We're not dealing with any of that. No, who told you that? Next thing I know, they're laying on the floor crying. My mom told me that when I was 5, and I don't wear red because she's on. And I'm like, oh, I was just asking who told you that. Who
Yes.
told you that? But I'm always in a really sacred space with people, so I take it very seriously. to really try to hear them, but to also not hear them at the same time so that I can push them into that next space.
That is so awesome. And I tell you, relationships, like I said, we're in people business because it's all about people. And regardless of our product or service that we're offering, it's about people. And, a lot of times we begin to start working on our website, start working on, getting our business cards and all those things like that, and our marketing strategy. And we fail to begin to work on ourselves. And one thing I love about one of the ladies that you introduced me to, Cheryl Pullins, that she talks about branding, but she goes within branding yourself. And it's just not a business card, a website, and all of that. And so I just love her about that and how it starts from within. And so when it starts within and building those relationships, because we're spirit. And so a lot of times we understand why they close that deal, why they didn't, because people pick up on stuff. Because be honest, if we don't like a person, we don't do business with them. It's something, you just like, I don't know, it sound good, look good, probably is good, but something is just not right. And so that's why it starts with our own self. In building relationships, we have to start having that relationship with God and begin to ask God to heal us everywhere we hurt. And so when we present ourselves, and like Cheryl says, the brand, when you're branding yourself and all that, because you can do all that marvelous work external, how you do it look glamorous, but then within, if it's not, you're not where you should be, it just looks off, because all that ties in together, and so I just really appreciate how not only that, but even in your relationship, we're talking about relationship and building those winning relationships, but how can you build it without God? And I love that about you, how you include God in everything that you do and you don't exclude him. And I often say, how can you take a God idea and exclude God? And so I just love that about you. And I just seen you demonstrate that, and you just shine so bright, and that the platform that God has given you, you're just transforming lives. And so that is such a tremendous blessing.
Thank you so much. I'm just honored. I'm honored that he allows me to be in such a sacred space with people, and that they honor me the way that they do within their lives. It's blessed my life immensely.
Yeah. Is there anything in particular where you said where relationship, and I know at first you were saying you weren't really, keen about building relationships, but is there one instance where you could just think how, oh my God, this relationship really has impacted me. It's just really has made a difference, and you can really see the since the time that where you wasn't so involved with relationships and focusing on that, and to where you are now. Can you see
the difference? Yes.
Yeah, the difference.
100%. I would say that the first relationship, business wise, that really impacted me was, you were talking about Cheryl Pullins, and she's just a dear friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And really, Cheryl being so brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes, she is.
and
if you don't know her, look her up, okay?
Right. Cheryl being so brilliant, and her saying, okay, you're the one, so you're doing my stuff. I was like, what? What? And in that relationship, having someone who mentored me and allowed me to just be as creative as possible, it just really expanded everything, being and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can freely admit that about myself. I'm a true creative. And so I try to work with clients who will allow me to be super, super creative with what I see and what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so to benefit them and their brilliance and their next level. And so in learning to really have a relationship with my clients, especially clients like Cheryl who are doing big business.
Yes.
That relationship part, to see the woman inside and outside, learning to become better at relationships allowed me to relate better to the person. You know, when we talk about a winning relationship, that ing means that it's active. Like it's it's not just an adjective, it's a verb. It's actively happening. So you're actively being victorious in that interrelation and interconnectivity with the person. And that really is like a passing of oil to me. You know, you're just passing oil, you're filling each other's cups. The only way for your cup to runneth over, as they say, you know, is for you to really interconnect and to be able to share your anointing. Because especially in business, you know, I don't rely on being talented. I rely on being studied and anointed, right?
Yes.
And
Right.
I say all the time, I'm not here to be talented. I do not care about anybody's talent. I don't care what a talented singer you are, baby. The only way for you to sang, to sang, right, is for you to have some oil on you that is unexplained.
Some anointing. Yes.
Right, some anointing.
Yes.
And to me, relationships activate anointing, right? You'll meet someone, that God connection, they will elevate your anointing, elevate what you see, what you thought you could do, what you thought was possible, because they stir up the gift, you know? So to me, relationships, I have grown to love relationships because it is about the stirring up of the gift, the elevating of both people, and the ability to really just, you know, share that oil and have that interconnectivity that really blesses both people's lives.
That is so awesome. And you know, winning relationships, you're winning. A lot of times people just focus on it's how I benefit, what I've been, and it's not considered of the other person. And so winning is that I often say together we win. That's what we say in BWIN is together we win. And so it's not just about me winning, what you can, you know, I can gain from it, but I wanted you to benefit from this relationship. So it's a fruitful relationships. It's not one-sided. It's not where one is always giving and the other one is always receiving, but it's that like you say, that God connection. I have to think about Mary and Elizabeth, you know, and when they went and began to connect, you know, and so those are the things that, and even godly ordained relationship would take you through some changes, but that's because you're changing all the time and you're growing, and change signify growth. And so, and we must also, I one of the things my husband and I posted this week was, he said, one of our biggest enemies is our resistance to change. And so when we resist change, we're resisting growth. And, you know, and when we're connected and through those relationships, we grow. And we don't do everything, you know, and that's the thing about it. And I always ask, who is your 12? Who is your 12? And so even Jesus had 12. Who is your 12? You know, and so I just appreciate God. I remember when you and I first met, it was at a pageant, actually. And and it was from there. And then we were at another pageant after that. And just through you, one person, I have met so many people, just one person, you know what I mean? I met so many people. I mean, genuine and just authentic and just pure and just have a heart of gold. And, you know, I'm able to be a blessing to them, and likewise, they're a blessing to me. And so we're all winning. And so winning a relationship is not just when you just gain, you know, just receiving everything, but also how can I be a blessing? And sometimes being a blessing is not just something tangible. You know, sometimes it's spiritual, sometimes it's encouragement and motivation and saying so many different things, which I have seen you in full force doing just that as well. But I tell you, to those of you that's just joining us, you are tuning in to and listening to BWIN Winning Wednesday for Women. And we have our guest today, Liz Everett, and we're so delighted. Our topic today is building a winning relationships. And if you have a question or that you would like to ask, just put the hashtag, right? Yeah, and ask in the comment, and we'll make sure we answer your question for you. But we thank each and every one of you for joining. We see a lot of Life Focus family here, but we appreciate you all for your support and joining us today. But we're going to continue our conversation today. And so since we're talking about building winning relationships, if you could choose, Liz, one person to whom you will have dinner, who would that be and why? Who would that be?
The person that I would have dinner with is actually my style mentor, Ann Stills. She is just so elegant and so fabulous, and I just want to be just like her when I grow up. And I just have so much admiration for so many women that came before me.
Yes.
And I feel like in this space, especially, it's something that I say all the time. We really have to begin to sit at the knee of the women that have come before us and honor them and listen and hear. You know, things may not be the exact same for us in this day or whatever, but the brilliance that they have shown as they have moved forward, they are the people who have opened the door for us. And so being mentored along your way in many different, areas, right? When it comes to spirit and when it comes to ministry, you are my mentor, and I feel very strongly about making sure that you are surrounded by good mentorship and people who want to share their oil, basically, and who you can honor back. It's just so important. And one thing that you have always said is that leaders beget leaders, right?
Yes.
So brilliant leaders are looking for young women, young people that they can bring forward and bring forth, to step into the light. And you'll bring someone forward because you don't want them to go through what you went through. Right. And so you got to get underneath somebody who has the same calling. If you're talking about ministry, one of the things that I knew was like, I can't go somewhere else for church because, I needed to be under someone who had the same type of calling, right? Who had a prophetic.
And we do that in the business world too,
Yes.
And when it comes to that, we kind of just anybody.
Yeah, you've got to be somewhere where the person has a very similar call, and they may not have
and understand you. Yeah, they understand where you are and where you are in your path. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is you revive that person. Because you're young and you're pursuing, you revive them, you help them see the possibilities within their niche or within their industry, and they are revived by you as well, and you are inspired by that person. So mentorship to me is one of the most incredible things. The only thing is, I will say this, when it comes to mentorship, we forget, when we say iron sharpens iron, we forget that the knife gets hot. Right? So we naturally think like, oh, well, yeah, everything's going to be sunshine and roses. No, sometimes it's a little hot underneath that knife.
Right. And you have to say some tough things.
Yes. You're going to be real mad, all the way upset. But that person is pushing you forward into your destiny and giving you a level of wisdom that you would not have had before. And in life, in the spirit, in business, I just find mentorship to be one of the most imperative things that you could have when it comes to a type of relationship that will really benefit you in business as well.
Right. That is so awesome. As you were speaking, I was just thinking about a lot of times mentorship, and you have to know why God brings certain people in your life. And we try to make one person everything. And that's why I think a lot of times we're disappointed, we're let down. And I often say God will use the obvious to bring you together, but you have to see what the main reason is yet to be revealed. And sometimes we don't stay in the relationship long enough to see what the main reason is. You may think God brought this person in your life for one reason, and they're in your life for a whole nother reason. And so what you just did was just disconnected yourself and just, maybe someone don't need a certain your product or your service, but God bringing them in your life for a whole nother reason. And so we have to be very careful about that and not try to make one person our everything. And so that's why I have to say, who is your 12? That means you're going to have different people that bring in different things that what you need in order for you to get where you're going, as well as you're going to be giving them what they need as well. And so that's very important, because I see that all the time. We try to make a person everything. And God is the only one can be everything to us, but he will bring other people in our lives, because he said we're one body, many members. And so each joint supplieth. And so we give and receive from each other. And even as with mentorship, Liz, and we say tough things, but it coming from a place of love, it's coming from a place of love. And you have the best interest, this person's best interest at heart. And you want them to excel, and you want them because, and like you said, it's so important that we be mentored by someone that, familiar with where we are in our callings and different things like that. And we want to be mentored by someone that have no idea of what's going on in our lives. And that's where confusion and all of that comes along. And so building winning relationships, it is so important. And so you can't just look at it from the beginning. It takes work. It takes work, and you have to put time in it. And I tell you, during this pandemic, we have seen where some relationships couldn't handle, the test of time, and they have it's fallen apart. And so that's the test of that relationship, when you're going through trying times and difficult times and disagree, all these different external factors and things that you have no control over. But I am just so blessed that you have joined us today, and just thankful for our audience that have joined us as well, and just appreciate the time that you have given us today, the space. And so you're looking so fabulous. I just want to take your picture.
You're so sweet.
Hey, we should say, oh, come on, stand over here. You're making me look good today, girl. Oh, geez. But anyway, I want to say, before we come to a close, what is it that one thing that you will really give our audience in where for that woman that says, I done been hurt. I don't do women. I don't, no, you just don't understand what I've gone through. And, that kind of, that language, that kind of lingo, how can you help them out of that hole?
I was definitely her. I definitely did not do chicks at all. Right. Mm-hmm. I did not do chicks, because I just was like, I just don't have time for all the emotions and the emotionalness. And oh my gosh, please. Right. But the fact was, I had to learn how to love me.
Yes.
When you learn how to love you truly, wholly, and not this kind of like, well, I love me, girl, get by. No, that's right. Not a defensive love, right?
Right.
It's not a defensive love or a defensive liking of yourself, right?
Right.
It is a love that is a Christ-like love that is just cascading over yourself. It is finding out the things that you really love about yourself. It's mirror training, where you get in the mirror, and instead of looking at the things you don't like first, you figure out what you love first, right? I always say, look in the mirror and find 3 things that you love about yourself. It's reflection. It's getting over that mental trash, that inner saboteur that tells you everything you're not. So then when somebody else says something, now you feel like you got to react right away, rather than just smiling and winning that way.
Right.
You can't draw. The reason you don't like those women that are in your life is because you don't love yourself.
Wow.
So you're not drawing anything other than piranhas and things that bite in the night, right? Because you're living through glass, shards of glass. Therefore, you're drawing things that have teeth that want to bite. when you can cascade that love of Christ over yourself and begin to work through, doesn't mean that you're perfect. You're just working through, right? None of us are perfect.
Yes, you're
But you're
maturing.
just,
Yes,
yeah, you're
growing.
just working through that mind trash that happens that tells you all what you're not. You know, you go to the conference and you're like, I'm gonna do it. Woo! You get to the stop sign, the little minions get in there like, girl, who you think you are? God didn't really call you to be, no, he called you to be all that and more. He called you to be a
Yes,
full-on snack pack, 24 pack of chips, the good kind, girl, the Cheetos and the Doritos, all of it. He wanted you to be all of those things. But the only way for you to draw those women who are like you is for you
yes,
to pour that oil upon yourself and pour that love upon yourself. Take time for yourself, love on you, not because you're trying to defy anybody or you want to tell them who, because you realize the value that is within this woman. And then
right.
you begin to draw these people to you that you can't even explain how they love you. You can't even
Yes.
explain the kindness that is within them, the beauty that is within them. And they will love you in spite of every shortcoming that you have, with no defense, no judgment, no nothing. But first, you must love you.
That is so powerful, Liz. That is so powerful and so true. We're trying to love, and we have to love ourselves. And that's where that relationship with God is so important, so he can show you who you are. And that, because you don't love yourself, then you're in competition. You compare yourself with your sister, and you have to begin to love yourself and see the uniqueness about yourself, see your brilliance, and see all of that God, he put a treasure on the inside of us, and you need to discover that and through him. And so we have to understand that. And so that is such a great point in loving yourself first, because if you don't love yourself, you don't know how to love your sister. You will always
Oh,
see, you
that's
see flaws.
beautiful.
You see flaws in
Wow.
yourself. You see all your shortcomings. You beat yourself up. And one thing, too, I think that we have to learn how to detach ourselves from circumstances, situations, and certain things and other people, because we make it our identity. If I lose things, I was telling someone the other day, you may have lost, just because you're losing some things, it doesn't mean you're a loser. You may have lost your job, but you're not a loser. We have to learn to detach ourselves from things, that when certain things fall or fail, that doesn't mean we fall or we fail. And so mess up doesn't mean give up, but it means get up, pursue, and overtake. There is a wealth of knowledge. Jasmine, my daughter, she was just sharing with me about how she would just get, well, I don't know. And God was saying, well, go with what you know. What do you know? And so a lot of times we focus on what we don't know, but what do you know? And so that is so important about loving yourself, because I'm one, Liz, that grew up with low self-esteem, didn't feel good about myself. And I just identify myself as a loner. And I grew up with 4 brothers. And so I was just used to being around boys. And so I didn't know how to build relationship with women. And here you go, God is saying, oh, you're going to have these women's groups, you're going to do this. And I'm just, these things are said to me in church. And I'm like, I don't even talk to women. Better yet, I don't even talk to people because who I thought I was, it wasn't that person. And we're still discovering ourselves. We're still changing. I'm often saying, around to my husband, I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that. No, I can't do that. And he's always like, well, Mary, you're going to do exactly what God tell you to do,
Right.
and we're who he tell us to be. And if you had it years ago, just thinking back, looking now, my own self and testimony, I would have never have seen myself doing what I'm doing and talking. And I was so shy and timid and introvert, and here I am in all the work of God. And so I tell you, relationship is so awesome, and knowing who you are is so important. So thank you for saying that. That is so powerful, and I think every woman can identify with that. Is just, who do we see when we look in the mirror?
Yeah. I think the biggest question to ask too is, have you asked God who you are?
Yes.
Because I came to a point where I realized I was too scared to ask him, because we love to say, well, I am who God says I am. Okay, but did you ask him who you are? Or are you just saying that because
Wow.
you're meeting somebody in church? Like, cliche church relationship with God is over. That's over. Like, you got to come with it, and you got to, you got to get your journal. I keep my journal by me all the time because I want to know what, I want to write things down that come into my spirit, come on my mind, all of those things, because God is constantly giving you innovative ideas that will keep your business ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But you must stay connected to people who value that same thing. Otherwise, they are going to see you through their limited view of themselves.
Wow.
And when you discuss those things with them, your relationship is going to be impacted because they only think that they can be the biggest thing in Tampa or the biggest thing in Tallahassee or the biggest thing in Atlanta. They're not thinking globally, and God gave you a global vision.
Exactly.
So, when
Wow.
you see you and you ask God who you are, and he says that you are to go to the nations, you must go, but you must write the vision, you must make it plain, and you must keep yourself around people who value that same thing. If you call someone, here's your marker that this is not your person for a winning relationship. If you call them and they immediately try to tell you no, rather than saying, all right, sis, is that what God said? Don't call them no more about their stuff. Don't call them anymore. That's not your person.
Yes. Yes. And then there are some people that we meet, and there's some ladies I met or people I met, and they wasn't the initial, they wasn't for this time right here, but it was later on down the road. Yeah, as I began to journey later on in my journey. And so, but anyway, I tell you, I have enjoyed you. Thank you so much again, Liz, for joining us today. And so I appreciate you so much, and thank God for all that you're doing, the impact that you're making, and using your platform to transform lives. And it's such a tremendous blessing. And just to see that, I'm just so honored that God allowed me to be on this journey with you, because you have been such a tremendous blessing to me and my family. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so now please tell our audience how they can connect with you, right? Connect with Liz Everett. You have a winning relationship. Yes.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited. I'm always honored. I'm always so proud to tell people who my pastor is, because I just truly know your heart for people. I know your heart for people in business and ministry and in life. I know that you are someone who has such integrity in relationships. And I've been so honored to see so many of my friends' lives positively impacted by your ministry and by who you are. And I'm just love you to pieces.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, I just want to just give some love to our audience today, and just appreciate them for coming on and just sharing. And you can see how to connect with Liz Everett on Instagram and Twitter. At Consult with ECI, and also at Liz Everett Style. So make sure you connect with this woman of God. She is so magnificent. She is brilliant in all that she does. And you definitely see the light of God shining through her and in her. So we are so honored to have her tonight, and just appreciate her tonight. And so make sure you connect now. Make sure you connect, because sometimes God make this connection, but we don't follow through with the connection. Doors of opportunities open, and we don't follow through. So make sure that you follow through and connect with Liz Everett. And we're so blessed to have her. And so who we have here on tonight, we have Miss Violet Alexander. She's here on tonight. Also Jennifer Bray. And we have Tressie here tonight as well. And so we thank you, ladies, for joining us tonight, and we appreciate you, and pray that you have been blessed today. And once again, thank you so much, Liz. I appreciate you, and looking forward to us continuing this journey together and doing great things. And so to our audience, I just want to say, make sure you tune in next week as well for BWIN Winning Wednesday for women. And so make sure you invite someone, and make sure you connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at BWIN-INC. All right. And make sure you visit our website, BWIN-INC. God bless you tonight. And we thank you so much again, Liz, for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.